Hello, this is Mrs. Scarple, and I am going to show you how to create different displays for data or different data displays using Desmos when you have a list of numbers to create them. So instead of creating these by hand in class, you will have the opportunity to just do it within Desmos. So you'll see here, I have the Desmos graphing calculator open. There is a link to this on the Schoology page. I also have a spreadsheet that has many numbers in it. I don't think you necessarily want to take time to type every single one of those numbers in. So the first thing you're going to want to do in Desmos is give your list a name. I'm just going to give it L for list. You can choose whatever you want. Then type equals. When you have a list of numbers to copy from a spreadsheet, you can select the header of the column. In this case, I click the A, but I don't want the title because it's not going to copy well. So I'm going to press the Control button, and then I'm going to click my mouse. And that deselects that cell while keeping everything else highlighted. And then it's Control C to copy that list. And then I go back to my Desmos graphing calculator and I press Control V as in violin. And you'll see that it tells me that there's 50 elements in this list. You'll also notice that it puts square brackets around my list at the end and at the beginning when we get there. Those brackets are the button next to the P on your keyboard. And you don't need to use shift because it's the symbol that's on the bottom part or the bottom half of that key. So let's start with a histogram. To make a histogram of a list, you type the word histogram, all one letter, all lowercase letters, or I should say all one word, all lowercase letters, parentheses, and then put that capital L or whatever you chose for the list name in parentheses. The other thing you want to do is set your bin alignment to the left. What that's going to do is, for examples, I'm going to set my bin width at 10 here in a minute, and what that's going to do is put every one of these values from 31 up through 39 in the same bar, so to speak. So the bins on a histogram are the bars, and it is just tells me how many numbers are within that bin. So I had mentioned I'm going to change this to a 10. I do that by clicking on the 1 here, and I'm going to change that to a 10. But you'll notice we still don't see anything. So I'm going to press this zoom fit. Looks like a micro magnifying glass, there we go, with a plus sign in it. If you click on that, it will center your graph or your display on your screen. If I change this to a bin width of 15, you'll see that each bin is wider, but it is also taller because they're holding more numbers. I'm going to go back to, or here it is at 1. That's not really helpful to us unless we do specifically want to see how many occurred at each of the values. So I'm going to place it back at 10 because this helps me see the general trend. So did the bin of 15, but it doesn't really matter at this point if I do a bin width of 10 or a bin width of 15. In order to tell how wide you should make this bin, you'll want to look at the graph that's given to you on your paper, because on the test what will happen is they'll ask you to draw the histogram on the paper. You can use Desmos to make it and then just copy from Desmos. Look at the scale along the lower axis, the x-axis, and you'll be able to see, is it going by 5s, 10s, 15s? That will determine your bin width. Now, I'm going to turn off the histogram without losing the histogram by selecting this bar graph symbol or this histogram symbol in the purple circle. And when I do that, it turns it off. I'm going to use the same data to make a box plot. So here's my box plot, but you'll notice this box plot has a circle out there. It's what's called an outlier because it is so far removed from most of the rest of the data. For now, I want that to be part of my box plot. So I need to deselect. So when I select exclude outliers, it gives me that circle and only gives me part of the box plot. If I uncheck that box, it takes it all the way out to that circle. I can also do a zoom fit on that, and it'll make it fit my graph. Now, what if I wanted to see both the histogram and the box plot at the same time? Well, if I turn that histogram back on, my box plot is right on top of my histogram. Might be hard to see depending on color, so I'm going to do an offset. If you'll see, look in box plot here at offset, it's set at 1. I want to bring it up above my histogram, so I'm going to choose 11 because that's above this 10 that is above my histogram. So I'm going to type 11, and you'll see that it moves that histogram or that box plot above my histogram, and I can compare the two of them. You'll see that it goes out to that 150. This value of 1 after 150 means that there was one number from 150 to 159. But for the most part, where the box and this left whisker are, that's where most of the data is in our histogram. This second whisker on the right is where we have less. Just a reminder of box plots. Each section of a box plot holds exactly 1/4 or 25% of the values. So even though this looks closer, this whisker on the left is representing just as many values as the first part of the box, as the second part of the box, and as this whisker on the right. So a longer whisker doesn't mean that there's more values, it just means there's more spread in the values. Now, what if you have just a very short list? If you have just a very short list, I'm going to delete these. You can just type everything into Desmos. I'm going to use M this time, equals, and I'm going to use that bracket symbol, and I'm just going to start typing some numbers. And you'll notice that I always put a parenthesis between my numbers. So here I have 18 numbers. Didn't take me long to do. And I'm going to create a histogram of M. Again, I want that bin alignment on the left, and I'm going to do that zoom fit. And here I have few enough numbers and they're close enough together that a bin width of 1 is okay. So we have 2 values at 1, we have 1 value at 2, we have 2 values of 3, 5 values of 4, and so on. Now, I'm going to turn off the histogram, and I'm going to make a dot plot because we do also include dot plots in our data displays. Again, I type that as dot plot, one word, lowercase letters, parentheses, the title of the list, and you'll see now that I have dots at the corresponding values. Now this dot plot, because it has the same bin width as my histogram, should line up with my histogram fairly nicely. So let's turn that histogram back on, and you'll see that those dots are at the beginning of each bin. They're on that left side of the bin. And the height of the dots matches the height of our histogram. So hopefully this video on creating the different displays, the different data displays, was helpful, and you will be able to do these same things when it comes to the unit assessment.